Boatworks Today is a viewer-supported show. To learn more on how you can get involved and watch extended ad-free versions of these videos, please visit our website, boatworkstoday.com, and click on the top of the heading where it says Support This Show. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks Today, and before we get started, I'd like to ask two things. One is that if this is your first time on my channel, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. And two, if you didn't happen to catch last week's video, which was out on, I believe, is last Sunday morning here on YouTube, if you have not seen that video yet, I would urge you to go and check that one out. I'll put a link for it right up in here. There, I just kind of outline what's going to be my new posting schedule going forward, along with some other information. So if you haven't checked that out, urge you to do so, and let's get started. So as a quick recap, this is a 1972 Bertram Moppie 25. Now, I took this in on as a type of a trade quite a few years ago, and the condition that you see it in here, this is the exact same way that I got it. Now, on the surface, things look pretty good, but when you actually take a closer look, you see there's some funkiness going on in the paint, and then around the hull in some different areas, there are a number of old holes that were filled in, and they weren't done correctly. You know, and the reason that I know that is because when you look at something like this, you can see the halo or the outline of around the old hole, and that plug has popped loose and it's starting to break through the surface. Now, there isn't just this one area. In total, I want to say there was like 6 or 7 little areas like that, to include one right up here on front and center of the bow. And these will all need to be addressed, because if I don't do it, well, one, it's just going to bug the crap out of me, and two, if I don't, and that plug actually comes out, paint is going to slowly start chipping away from around the perimeter of that, so no bueno. And when we move up to the top side, I mean, for the most part, everything up here looks pretty good until you get up to the foredeck. Now, right around in here, and this is a notorious area for having any kind of a stress crack, anytime that there's, you know, a fairly tight radius, but there are stress cracks all around the perimeter of this hatch opening, as well as around the actual perimeter of the actual deck, you know, kind of around where you would normally have like a tow rail or a kick rail. Let's see if we can get there. Right there. So little cracks like this, they go all the way from starboard, all the way around to the bow and over to port. And again, no bueno. And as far as the glass goes, the last area that I want to take a hard look at and basically make it look like brand new is right here at the helm. I mean, this thing has just been turned into Swiss cheese over the years. There's old holes for old gauges that are no longer, you know, they're obsolete, and holes that I don't even know what was there to begin with. So all of this is going to have to be taken out, all the old holes glassed in, you know, made go away. And then when it comes time to actually do the install for the mechanical side of things, then we'll cut new holes, make it all look good, and make it look the way that it's supposed to look. Now, in addition to the glasswork on the hull and up on the foredeck, as well as at the helm, there is an awful lot that needs to get done in here. This is a blank slate. It is completely wide open and a little bit of a hot mess. We'll get into that here in later videos. There is a brand new fuel tank right underneath my feet that has never been installed. It's never been used, it's never been installed. So we got to get that sorted out. We got to get all the plumbing and the venting taken care of for that, as well as figuring out where all this is actually going to be coming up to. There is no wiring and nothing. I don't even really see where they were running or, you know, had the lines chased originally, but we've got to make accommodations for like a battery charger and shore power and the distribution panel and lighting and any other kind of toys and goodies I want to add on here. But kind of the nice thing about all this, I guess, is that you're starting from scratch. So you don't necessarily have to pull out somebody else's old, you know, rat's nest and try and make sense of it. It's just all coming from scratch, which is good, but. And then lastly, there are these two little beauties. Now a mechanical person I am not, and I don't try and BS or try and be something that I'm not. Me and engines, mechanical in general, we are not friends. But I still need to figure this out. So I need to figure out how to get the engines hooked up, have the controls led up to there, and get everything sorted out in between. Now, because mechanical and electrical are not my strong suit, I've been in contact with the folks over at ABYC, that's American Boating Yachting Council. And I'm going to be working with them and try and learn the electrical and mechanical standards so that when I do this, I make sure that everything is done correctly. Because no one wants to look like an idiot on YouTube. So I want to make sure that I get everything done right. So I'm going to be working with them over the course of this winter to try and get my certifications up and just try and teach myself something. Now, the one thing I want to stress here is that when it comes to doing something new, if there's something that you're not sure about or something that you don't know, learn it. Teach yourself. I mean, there are resources available now that are better than they have ever been in history. I mean, everything that you would ever want to know about anything, anywhere, is right at the end of your fingertips. Google is a thing. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time, trying to brush up and teach myself the correct ways to get all of this accomplished. Now, another thing that needs to get done around here is reinforcement. Not just alone on the deck here, but also specifically around these side combings here. And I'll get more into that when I start talking about some of the layout ideas. But the reason reinforcement is needed in here is, well, ready? That wasn't even that much weight. So right now, if I were to stand on these, I suspect that these would probably break. So need to get that issue sorted out. Look, I thought I broke it. Now, before I start getting into some of the layout ideas that I've got, I just want to kind of try and give an idea on what kind of real estate is going on here, because I've already tried to go through and do some editing on here, and the way that you're seeing this through the camera does not do the amount of area here justice. So let me do a quick measurement. I'm looking at an 8-foot beam by, try not to fall into the hole, almost 14 feet, almost. That is an awful lot of real estate. So we got to make sure we put it to good use. All right, so now I've had some time to give this some thought as far as layout, as far as what I want to have where and what kind of things I want to make sure that I have incorporated into the boat here. But so I'll give you my ideas, and then in the comments below, I would love to hear if you have suggestions or things that I should be, or things that you think that I should add on to the boat. But this is just going to be a real warm and fuzzy, just kind of overall, kind of conception. But obviously, we get up to the business part of the boat here. There's going to be a co-pilot, pilot seat, obviously. Now, where it starts to get interesting for me is that there's a huge amount of space right here. Let me grab my tape just to so you all know what kind of room is available here. All right, so this compartment right here is 2 feet fore and aft, 4 feet port starboard, and about 20 inches deep. Nice big well right there. You get back into the middle or the center of the boat here. This is where the fuel tank is going to be. This is a 90-gallon fuel tank. It's a 90-gallon fuel tank. And between from there to there is about 7 feet. So it would be really, really nice when you hop down, you're trying to walk back here. It would be really, really handy to have something to hold on to right here for balance and whatever. So my thought, and again, let me know what you think, but my thought is to build, somewhat of a, for lack of better words, I think it's like a bi-directional bench seat kind of a thing. But again, about a 4-foot wide bench that would basically bolt down on top of the cover over this fuel tank. That would have a back on it that can kind of flip back and forth. So if you wanted to, say, face forward, the backrest would be anchored this way. Whereas if you wanted to turn it around and watch if you're pulling somebody water skiing or whatever, you could take that backrest, flip it over, and then now you'd have a seat being able to face aft. Now, being a seat, it's going to be up, about booty height. So you don't want to waste that space that's underneath it. So my thought was to build just a nice, really, really well insulated cooler down below. So you'd have the cooler, or it could just be plain storage too, but to have a really, really nice cooler built in underneath it. And then as we moved back towards here, now originally this boat came with twin inboard engines, and the previous owner pulled those out and then mounted an Armstrong bracket on the back with accommodations for twin outboards. I believe this bracket is technically rated up for twin 250s. Right now I've got twin 130s, which I think it'll work out fine. I think they're adequate size for this boat. I have no interest in going 50 miles an hour across the lake anymore. 30 years ago, yeah, but not so much anymore. But since the old engines were taken out, and again, this opens up another huge cavity. It's going to be 4 feet wide, about 43 inches fore and aft, again, 20 inches deep. So the heck do you put back here? I know, well, let me back up here a little bit. So that area down there is more than enough room to put a lot of your mechanical stuff. But I'm also trying to keep weight as a consideration, because I know that Bertrams, in general, with outboards, are going to be a little heavy and and I don't want the thing sitting in the water like this. So I don't want to put a whole lot of weight. So whether this is where the batteries are going to go or not, I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. But there's a lot of room down here to put something. But after we figure out what that something is going to be, now cover all that up. So in addition to having a bench seat here, I think it'd be really, really cool to have another bench seat right here, right against the coaming, with the backrest going against the coaming. I don't know if it would be cool to have kind of a wraparound type seat, or if it'd be better just to have another, say 4 foot wide bench seat, so that you still have room to get on and off the boat on either side of that seat. And again, keeping with the theme of trying to take advantage of space, there could be storage underneath that seat, or I suppose that's where the batteries could go, or I don't know. Looking for ideas. Again, like I mentioned, mechanical, electrical, not really my bag. So this is going to be a very much of a learning process for me too. Obviously, after I've hopefully done my homework, but I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So that's just kind of my general, very, very rough ideas that I'm kicking around in my brain as far as how it's going to be laid out. Now, as far as fit and finish, I want this thing to be one sexy little, keep your kid friendly. But so as far as, once some of these things are in place, now how to finish the interior. Now, I've done Bertram restoration before, where basically I took the interior and made it all mahogany, like that same kind of stained, highly varnished mahogany. And it looked beautiful. I don't know that I feel like, having that kind of maintenance in it. I mean, it's total eye candy, don't get me wrong, and it looks sexy as hell. But I don't know that I want to have that kind of maintenance on here. I have mahogany, I have some teak, but if budget were no concern, what I would love to see is a teak deck, on the flooring in here, a teak deck for the flooring, and then along the sides, again, because these are going to have to be reinforced with storage cubbies built in. I would love to see these kind of planked off with either teak or mahogany. I suppose it could be like get some Kusa board and have that painted off. That would look okay too. It'd be a nice clean finish, easy to maintain. But when you start talking around the sides here, realistically, when it's at dock, this is where people are going to be stepping on and off the boat. They're going to step off the dock, onto here, down on inside the boat. So I think it'd look awesome if I could put a nice, a shaped teak or mahogany, something, basically a stepping pad, all along and through here. Wrap that same teak coaming across the back, and then have that follow up over here on the other side. That takes care of this. sides are all planked out in something. And then up in here, what I did on that other Bertram project was basically I took some, well, that project was mahogany, but I took that and basically trimmed all this off with mahogany, leaving a little lip up here so stuff didn't slide off. I believe I even put little wear slats, you know, so that you could set items up on here without scuffing the paint. But I mean, there's so many ideas, and it's one thing I'm finding myself getting caught up with is that there's so many options. I'm not quite sure which direction to go. There's a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't know how well they all work together. So if there's someone that's not quite as excited about this project as I am, that can, you know, lend a little bit of a level head to some ideas and thoughts and layouts, I would love to hear from you. So I believe that's it. Now this video is just meant to more or less be just kind of a general introduction overview of what the project is going to entail. So in next week then we'll actually be getting started. I suspect we're going to be getting started. I always say start from the top, work your way down. So I imagine we'll get started focusing on the fiberglass repairs. So I believe that's it. I'm going to wrap this one up here. I need to get this edited so it's ready for tomorrow. So if you have any questions, comments, please leave those down below. And if you would be so kind, share the crap out of this video. This is going to be something that I'm going to be on for at least the next 6 months. And I would love to get a lot of input you know, from these videos. So share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, however stuff is done. I really don't understand it. I really should figure that one out, but I don't understand it. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of time this winter to try and understand it, right? But in any event, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next week, thanks for watching. I'll see you then. Have a good weekend.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.